work for us, and we're driving along, and he said to me, "Brian, what do you think these people are playing at? What are they doing? Are they playing politics? Are they out for personal gain?" And I said, "Just run that by me again," and he repeated it. Well, he didn't know what they were, what are they doing? And I said, "They're going to kill you." These people are not playing a game. What do they want to do to you? They want to destroy you completely. Because the destruction, if you take the hospitals as an example, people are dying in our National Health Service as a result of it being collapsed. It's being collapsed deliberately. I'm not squeamish about this. When you do the military background, you talk about it. There's the bad guy. The aim is to kill them before they kill you. But whilst our troops at the moment are overseas in Iraq and Afghanistan, the real enemy is attacking this country. And common purpose is a key part of it. Now, I'm going to finish on this quote, but this is a quote by a chap called Beria, who was Stalin's right-hand man. And he defined psychopolitics, the art and science of asserting and maintaining dominion over the thoughts and loyalties of individuals, officers, bureaus, and the conquest of enemy nations through mental healing. He doesn't mean mental healing making you well, he means making you into a socialist. And here, by psychopolitics, our chief goals are carried forward to produce a maximum of chaos in the culture of the enemy. Our fruits are grown in chaos, distrust, economic depression, scientific turmoil. And I'm going to suggest to you that that is what you are now living in. And one of the ways that's being propagated is by common purpose. And I'll stop there if I may.
Thank you very much indeed, Brian. I devote the rest of the time available to us to questions and debate. And can I abuse my position as chairman by asking a question, if you will allow me?
If I may.
The question I would ask, Brian, is this. Imagine we had somebody here from Common Purpose. And let me play devil's advocate for a moment. I think what I would be saying is something along the lines of, look, we're interested in improving life in Britain by improving leadership skills. That's what we're about. So, of course, we go to organisations which are influential, we try and deliver these courses, we go to schools because we want to encourage leadership skills and we want these young people to grow up and take leading positions in our society. We have a series of programs we think that make people much more effective leaders. So we're a bit like the Industrial Society, which does industrial training, but we focus particularly on leadership. And there are other, both commercial and, I believe, charity organisations that do similar things. Common Purpose just happens to be a big one and a successful one. And then you say, well, okay, you're teaching people about the European Union. This is propaganda. And they will say, well, we're teaching people how decisions are made that affect their lives, and whether you like it or not, a great many decisions are made in Brussels, just as a great many decisions are made in Westminster. Therefore, if we're teaching people about how decisions are made in society, of course we're going to teach them about how the European Union works, and we're going to take them to the Parliament. We are just a training organisation. And of course we have links with other think tanks who work on areas like this. Of course, because we're successful, we get into large companies, we get companies supporting us, and we work to an extent with the government because they've seen the benefit of the wonderful training that we deliver. Now, if they were to say that to you, how would you respond?
Well, I'd say that is a wonderful description of common purpose, but there are some points at the moment which don't seem to tie up. The first one is that if you're a charity, it's very reasonable that you do your work in an open way where we can see where your money is coming from and how you're using that money. You are, after all, a charity. And the overwhelming proof and evidence at the moment is that you're exceedingly secretive about where your money is coming from and how that money is used. On top of that, I'd like you to explain why it is that when we ask a city council, such as Plymouth City Council, how much you've spent on common purpose, instead of saying, we are delighted to tell the public that we have spent £200,000 and we think it's excellent value, they don't want to tell us how much they've spent. Now that's rather odd, isn't it? Because you run a wonderful charity, but nobody wants to tell us how much they've spent. In fact, it's taken Philip Davis as an MP to ask questions in the House to discover how much the MOD has spent or how much the Department of Social Services has spent. So it's rather odd that we have a charity where everybody seems very reluctant to say how much they've spent on it. The other thing is that if you are a Freemason, you are required to declare yourself. But Common Purpose is training people to be graduates. I'd suggest a better word is members. And yet, far from declaring themselves and saying, I am a Common Purpose person and what a brilliant charity, and I'd encourage all of you to join, they don't want to declare themselves.
Funny enough, I've written down here, like the Masons, question mark. So
Absolutely.
That comparison is interesting. One of the things that I can and will do as an MEP, I will do a written question to the Commission saying, are you aware of this organisation and have you provided any funding? And I think, although I have no great regard for the European Commission, usually, in my experience, they do give fairly straight answers to those questions. So that would be a question worth asking. Right, I will stop abusing my position as chairman and we'll go, sir, can we have your question?
Yes, my name is Frank Leeming. I'm a former senior engineer officer, ship senior engineer officer in the British Mercantile Marine. I am a former magistrate. Currently, I am an independent councillor on Derby City Council. I have been approached by this group and asked to go on one of their courses. I read their literature. This was given to me or sent to me by email officially from the council. And Derby City Council are promoting this through their workforce and to all councils. I started to read it, and then being a Yorkshireman, I saw how much it was going to cost me, which was little over £5,800, and I binned it. Purely for that reason, I don't see any point in me spending £5,800 at my time in life to listen to what's going on from these people. However, Mr. Gerrish, when I was invited to this meeting and I was told your name, a little bell started to ring in. I thought, Paul Gerrish, Portsmouth, surely that's the chap who writes that little newspaper which is full of libelous statements about the corruption that's going on in Portsmouth Council. Plymouth Council. Yeah. And I thought, right, if he's still here, those libelous statements must be true. So therefore they can't be libelous, so the bloke is telling the truth. He's not been arrested, not been sent into prison, not had his house taken by the bailiffs because he can't pay the fines or the court bills. So I thought, yeah, I couldn't listen. I couldn't listen to what he's saying. I am totally amazed at what you've said. I had an inkling that this organisation was similar to Byra's organisation, and Byra was the Politburo member for all the secret services in Russia. He was assassinated by Stalin by impregnating the curtains in his flat with cyanide. That's how they got rid of him, because he fell foul of Stalin. But from the description you've got, I don't see any difference in the way that he operated and the way this people operated. Their aim is the same, total domination. No democracy, no elected membership, everything governed, run by their own people selected through this programme.